Yeah, of course.
I was under the impression it was
You've been real confused lately.
No,
Would Dennis ever throw you under the bus in front of all?
No, Dennis wouldn't do that because Dennis is gang. Listen, if I don't like her, you don't like her. You don't need to know why. I just don't like her, so we don't like her. So whatever reason I would have given, Dennis would have been like, yep, what she said, yep.
Recent comments made by Porsha Williams about her fiancé Dennis McKinley being, quote, gang, left many of us fans confused. And also asking ourselves,
Who said that? Who said that? Who had been saying that?
it's your girl Steph, and welcome back to the Peach Post. Porsha Williams' relationship with fiancé Dennis showed signs of being dysfunctional well before his admission of cheating on her Housewives of Atlanta. After Dennis admitted this season on The Real Housewives to being unfaithful to Porsha during their pregnancy, I decided to go back and rewatch the special Porsha's Having a Baby, since the timeline of when it was filmed should then seemingly match up with when Dennis was also having his affair. Considering Dennis claims that his reason for cheating on Porsha was because of intimacy issues the couple were having during her pregnancy, I figured if this is actually true, then we should be able to now, in hindsight, see some signs of this unfolding right before our eyes. During this 3-part special, we follow Porsha and Dennis's journey towards becoming parents of baby PLR Jenna. As Porsha prepares for the arrival of baby PJ, she decides to host, along with the help of Dennis and also their mothers, an audition of sorts for a potential nanny to help with baby PJ. During these exact same scenes, Dennis jokes more than once with Porsha about preferring a younger and more physically appealing nanny for their daughter. He even said he wanted someone with some Beyonce type of energy. Dennis went behind Porsha's back and put an offer in on a home for both of them without even consulting with her first.
Compromise.
Oh, why do I feel like you're about to talk about this damn house again? So did you pull the offer back?
Listen, let's go back one more time. Let's go over there and check that joint out.
What you need to see it again for? Your ass already put an offer on it.
I want you to see it again so you can maybe
I
change
seen
your mind.
it. I don't think Dennis is understanding that people look at houses and not purchase right away. Like, when I say, let's look at some houses, I'm just saying, let's shop. You never window shop before?
This raised red flags for Porsha as it reminded her too similarly of a situation that occurred during her previous relationship with ex-husband Cordell Stewart. Porsha shared that after her and her ex-husband Cordell split, she learned that he too wasn't honest with her about the status of the home he owned previously to them getting married. According to Porsha, it was agreed between the two of them that they would both sell their separately owned properties so they could come together as husband and wife and create the foundation of a new home together. Under this direction, Porsha sold the home she owned on her own and adjusted into her role as a wife in the home she shared with her husband Cordell, whom would not much later eventually serve her with divorce papers without warning. During the aftermath of her divorce, and while Porsha was trying to rebuild herself, she soon learned that her ex-husband, Cordell Stewart, had actually moved right back into the home he originally had and hadn't ever sold it at all. He too had actually kept his previous home and had only been renting it out. It's implied this was done secretly because Cordell wanted to make sure the whole time that he had a backup plan in case things with he and Porsha didn't work out. This was particularly devastating to Porsha, as you guys can understand, because if you guys remember, Porsha's life was so turned upside down during the demise of her first marriage that she was actually near being financially bankrupt immediately after the divorce. Cordell left Porsha with nothing. That season, she was actually spending most of her storyline during that time trying to rebuild herself and become independent again after leaving a toxic relationship.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Mommy. Hey, Cordell.
This is also why it's so hard initially for Porsha to let her guard down and completely trust Dennis. And this played out over and over again during the course of Porsha's baby special. We actually watched more of the couple's relationship issues play out during this special than we witnessed them truly preparing to have a baby. I think Porsha simply moves too fast in relationships and doesn't truly give herself time to get to know a person.
Is on Love Connection, and it's amazing. What kind of a dater is Porsha Williams?
Porsha Williams, you know, my worry about her, because we've seen from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she goes fast. Like, she goes really fast.
My personal opinion, you guys, on this is that I honestly think that Dennis, he shows some characteristics that would line up with him possibly being slightly narcissistic. And I hate calling people that, but I honestly feel like a lot of his behavior and a lot of his patterns do line up with someone who would be a narcissist partner. For instance, there's many different signs that he's likely never going to stop hurting Portia, honestly, because if you really look at the history of their relationship, it started with her supposedly being one of many. If you go back to the season prior, when Candy was trying to warn Portia about Dennis, it was stated many different times that he had a pattern of doing the exact same things with all of his exes, be that getting their names tattooed on them.
Oh my God.
It's right there on his leg right here.
Buying them luxurious and expensive gifts, cooking for them, but then come to find out it's one of the other exes cooking for somebody else. It's just a lot of stuff, not to mention also their relationship started so quickly that it actually ended up at the beginning of the relationship being that Portia actually had a run-in with one of his exes because their relationships overlapped.
Okay.
But when we were in Africa, she found out because her friend texted and said that he's with Portia now. And so it was a big situation.
She wasn't upset?
She was crying.
You mean she didn't know he was dating somebody? So I got questions. How long did he date your friend?
2.5, 3 years.
So I feel like all of these things play out. And I'm not saying that Portia's a victim completely because I don't believe she's 100% a victim. Obviously, she's mostly the victim in the situation because no woman deserves to be cheated on while she's pregnant. And no man other than Future himself, I would think, would normally think that would be okay. But at the same time, I do feel like there are some things that she could have done herself to prevent herself from being in this situation. And I think one of those is just taking accountability. Portia has a history of not taking accountability for anything on this show that she does that isn't right. Out of all of the other housewives, I feel like she's the one who's apologized the least and done the most that needed an apology for, and that's just my opinion on that, guys. But what do you guys think? Are there any red flags that I missed that I didn't cover here that you guys have noticed before? If so, leave it in the comments. Do you guys think that Portia's ever gonna leave Dennis? Do you think that Dennis is ever gonna stop cheating on Portia?
Yes,
leave comments about that too. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you again for watching The Peach Post.